Today I want to talk about considering Adelaide as a place to invest your money. If you're an interstate investor looking for somewhere around the country that you can park your cash outside of your own state. And for me, there's lots of wonderful reasons to consider Adelaide. For anyone who's ever been there, they can see that it's a beautiful place. For those people who live there, they know it's a wonderful place. But it's interesting, the perception of Adelaide, particularly from the East Coast, as a place that probably wouldn't consider buying it. But for me, that's something that you should seriously reconsider. And for me, the number one reason why you should reconsider that is it's a very stable marketplace. If you have a look historically, it continues to just perform at a very stable level. I don't see these enormous highs and these enormous lows. So if you're investing for the long term, it kind of makes sense that it's a good place to park your cash because you know you just get that consistent performance. And on top of that, if you think about the fact that there's affordability issues all over the country, or particularly on the mainland east coast of Australia, there's really good lifestyle opportunities for people to consider moving to Adelaide. And in fact, by 2050, an extra 500,000 people are going to move to that city. So it's important that you do consider Adelaide as an option for you, given the fact that it's a vibrant city, expecting a lot of people moving into it, which will put pressure on prices over time. Now, my second thing to consider about Adelaide is it's very livable. It doesn't end up number one in terms of the top cities around the world like Melbourne does, but it often ends up in the top 10, which is an awesome achievement because it's got the lifestyle, it's got beautiful universities, it's a really, vibrant place to be, it's nice and relaxed, the people are really friendly. So the fact that it's got this sort of livability and it's considered the 15-minute city, where they can drive around the place, they usually can find a car park out the front, and so they have this expectation that that's just something that they can do. So it's important to keep in mind to buy properties that are within 15 minutes of the lifestyle drivers, because I remember talking to a client once about buying a house that they should live in, and it's going to take them 20 to 25 minutes to get into the city to go to work. And they're like, that's too much. I'm like, 20 to 25 minutes is too much? And they're like, absolutely. Whereas if you think about in Melbourne or Sydney, that's like sometimes from your letterbox to 2 suburbs away in peak traffic, 20 minutes you'd be happy. But in Adelaide, it's the 15-minute city. So keep in mind that you want to be 15 minutes from the lifestyle drivers in that city. So my third point is, what are the lifestyle drivers? And it's pretty clear. It's proximity to the beach and proximity to the city. Can I get to my job in the morning during the week? Can I get to the beach on the weekend and have a good time? So understanding that means that if you're looking for real estate, try and get both if possible, but at least one of those in terms of a proximity. Because if you think about the eastern suburbs of Adelaide, it doesn't necessarily have that proximity to the beach, but they've got the geographical limitation of the mountain range, as well as the beautiful schools in the area and the leafy streets that get us through to the city, not to mention some of the most amazing stone cottages in those eastern suburbs. So understand those lifestyle drivers, and if you can, try and get 2 of them, but at least have one of them where you've got access to one or the other. Another quirk of buying in the Adelaide marketplace is they have this 2-day cooling off period without penalty. So quite often in the other states, if you have a cooling off like in Melbourne, there is a financial penalty that can be charged by the vendor if you do cool off. Whereas in Adelaide, 0 penalty. So what does that mean for you as a negotiator? Well, you can put a deal together and not necessarily have to put any conditions in place. In fact, think about the building and pest inspection. They know that there's 2 days for cooling off, and the builders over there know to hightail it very quickly in that first 48 hours to get it done. So you can put an offer in with no conditions, put the builder in, get them checked, and if there's something wrong with the building, you can just cool off at no penalty. It makes it quite straightforward to do a deal in that city, and it's a quirk that you need to understand to make sure that you put yourself in the box seat to buy, particularly if you're looking from interstate. And my fifth one is South Australians and people in Adelaide are known for being very parochial, okay? Which means they, protect their own, and they think that Adelaide, quite often a lot of investors in Adelaide don't want to invest outside of Adelaide, for example. So what does that mean for interstate investors? The real estate agents can be a little bit suspicious of the outsiders. They like to deal with the locals, they like to deal with the local investors, they like to deal with the local buyers. So you're going to have to be persistent. If you put a phone call into the agent, they don't return your call, keep calling them back. But understand that there does have that parochialism that exists in that city. And for you being an interstater, you need to overcome that to make sure that you don't get beaten on a really great property because you've got that interstate feel or that interstate look about you, whereas they want to make sure that they sell it to a local. So it's important that you understand that parochialism that actually exists in that city. So there you go, folks. I think there's some wonderful reasons to consider that city of Adelaide if you're considering building a multiple property portfolio with borderless investing in mind. And so if you are considering buying in that city, those are the things that I think that you should think about before you buy your next property there.